Bobby, you and I have talked many times about this wonderful setting on the beach and the 4th of July week, how you always love to get the family together. I can certainly see why. This is some special place.
It's beautiful down here. We've been coming here forever, you know, ever since we were children. First time I came here, I was 10 years old. It was 1940, you know, and I bet you nearly every summer since then. First it was Ann and I, then it was Ann and I and the children, then it was ours and the grandchildren, now it was the great-grandchildren. So we've been doing it for 50 years.
Any coach is going to struggle with time with his family. We know that. But how did you manage to still get, you know, when Terry's coaching, Tommy's coaching, Jeff's coaching, to still be able to pull it off to make sure that that one week you were all going to be together?
Ann Bowden. Ann Bowden is, I mean, Ann is the one who has held our family together. You know what? Had 6 children, got all these grandchildren and everything, but I mean, she insists. Now listen, y'all put the last week of June, the first week of July on your calendar, and we're going to Panama City and have our family vacation. Yeah, and you wonder how long it can last. Yeah. But I guarantee you, as long as Ann Bowden is on this earth, breathing, she'll have those kids here. I say kids, they're all 60 now. Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. And I've known you for 30 years.
Oh, yeah.
And during that time, the evolution of your family and football, and when somebody says to you, and I'll mention this just in passing, I'm going to visit with the first family of college football. When you hear that, how do you feel?
Well, it's an honor if they're correct. You know, of course, our careers are all phasing down. I'm out, Tommy's out. It's kind of one of those things you hope it's true. You hope others feel that way.
Well, I think the key word here is family. I mean, when you say family,
yeah,
I mean, a lot of coaches have had their sons get into the business.
Yeah.
I mean, I look at the total numbers and where you guys coached and the impact that the Bowdens have had on the game. I think it's true.
That's right. Well, you know, I look back at it. Tommy had an undefeated season. Terry had an undefeated season. And you know, they all had them before I did.
That's right.
I was 60 before we won our first national championship. You know, I was 68 when we won our second national championship and had an perfect record, you know, and at only one time.
It's a storied career whose roots lie in Bobby's home state of Alabama, one of America's truest football hotbeds. Yet the playing career of little Bobby Bowden, the one that eventually led him to the sidelines, nearly came to an end before it began.
You know, your generation really did have to deal with issues medically that our generation's forgotten about.
Oh, yeah.
You were sick a lot as a kid, weren't you?
Yeah. Well, when I was 13 years of age, my knees started killing me, just aching like mad. And I liked to play ball at that age, you know, and so mother took me to a doctor and they found out I had rheumatic fever. Now, you don't hear much about rheumatic fever now, but it was a heart disease. And he put me to bed. I mean, he put me flat on my back. I remember, and back in those days, doctors came to see you. You didn't go to the hospital, doctors came every morning, checked it out, you know. So every morning he'd come by. I'll never forget the first morning he came by. I'm laying in bed, and he came in and I raised up. He said, no, don't raise up. It scared me to death. But I had to lay flat on my dad, come back for about 3 or 4 or 5 months, you know. But anyway, I had to drop out of school, couldn't go up the stairs, no lifting weight, don't do anything strong. So I went through that for a year, you know, and that's when I joined the band. They won't let me play football, I'll play in the band. So I played in the band 2 years.
Despite being told he would never again play football, Bobby emerged from his year in bed to star at high school and later at Howard College, where several years later he would get his first chance as a head coach. The close proximity to Tuscaloosa allowed Bobby the unique opportunity to learn from some of the game's all-time greats.
When you were a kid and you were looking up to Bear Bryant, who wouldn't back then?
Oh, yeah.
You had the occasion to go to Alabama and see and watch practice, watch him practice. And then even before he got there, and Bart missed him by that much. Yeah. Bart Starr, I talked to him last year. Yeah. Talk to me about those guys.
Well, Bart Starr and I careers came along around the same time. He was 2 years behind me in high school. Right. He played down in Montgomery and I was up in Birmingham. And then, of course, he went to the University of Alabama with a big name, but the things didn't fit for him there then. And so anyway, so Bear goes, he goes to Green Bay, as everybody knows, and eventually becomes a great quarterback. And he, in the summer, he'd come back to Birmingham, and I was coaching at Samford University, and he came out and coached my quarterbacks for the whole spring training.
Wow.
I invited him over. I said, Bart, come over and kind of talk some football with me. And he came over, and we sat and talked for a long time. I said, why don't you come out and work with my quarterbacks a little bit? So he went out there and worked with the quarterbacks. Well, that was during spring training. It lasted about a month. He came every day and coached my team. So anyway, I knew him there. And then I used to go to Green Bay when he was playing, during the summertime, and watch him, And but the other thing is I was coaching. Bear went to Alabama in '58. I went to Samford in '59 as head coach. That was only 50 miles away. Wow. So every summer I would go down to watch Alabama practice, spring training, and then Coach Bryant. He had a plan. Back in those days, let's say you had signed 45 guys. Well, if you lost one, you could replace him. So he had let me come down there and watch spring training. And he'd say, now here's a list of about 17 guys I don't think can play here. If you want them, let me know. I'll tell them to go up to your school.
How good is that?
And I used to get a lot of recruits from Alabama, from him,
Yeah.
And so anyway, they were real good to me. And I knew Gene Stallings was one of my favorite coaches ever. Because he helped me so much when he was coaching down at the University of Alabama.
I still don't think today you get the credit you deserve for building Florida State before it went into the ACC by playing these 3-for-1 contracts with. There was that one year where you played 5 in a row. I mean, it was Pitt, Ohio State, LSU, and these were all like 3-for-1, 4-for-1 deals.
Yeah, oh yeah. We played in 5 homecomings that year. None of them ours.
That's incredible. So, but then you build it. You're having incredible years. You've gone now to a number of Orange Bowls, and that you're about to begin that run of 14 consecutive top 5 finishes. And here's the Alabama job, just sitting pretty. Looks like the end of the rainbow for you.
Exactly. That was, raised in Alabama, and just as a child, just one of those guys that cried when they lost when I was a kid, you know. And had to go to Alabama when I finished high school. And so anyway, we're playing in the Birmingham in the Hall of Fame Bowl, and Perkins leaves Alabama all of a sudden. So all the Alabama jobs open. And boy, I had the governor, and I had a lot of the Alabama big shots came to me. Boy, the president wants to interview you. Well, anyway, it was a misunderstanding that I thought that was what was. And I got interviewed, and as soon as I got interviewed, I found out, hey, he's not offering me the job, Yeah. So I pulled my name out as quick as I could, but I would have gone at that time, because I always felt like, Bobby, you're gonna get to go back home, end your career in Alabama. It's your favorite school, and it didn't work out.
While Bobby's script didn't include an Alabama homecoming, his time in Tallahassee is among the most decorated in college football history. A tenure highlighted by national championships in 1993 and 99, and countless dramatic moments with in-state rivals.
Bobby, I don't know of anybody that went through more drama at the end of games than you.
Yeah.
Did you get to a point when you felt like, oh my gosh, maybe it's just not in the cards?
Yeah, kind of like it wasn't in the cards. Dadgummit, we had 2 years, I think, wide right, 2 years in a row, man. And they won the national championship, and that was our only loss. We could have won it if they had, if it hadn't been for them. But we had a great. I don't know. I tell you, there's not many series. I don't care what anybody says, that has been more greater than the Florida State Miami back in the 80s and early 90s. I mean, whoever won it won the national championship.
I once asked you about the rivalry with Spurrier.
Yeah.
And you said it does matter more when I play Steve, because you always want to be the faster gun. That did matter more, didn't it?
But especially with Steve. Because that guy he can get on you, boy. Now, now he can rile you up. You know what? I really like Steve. I admired him when he was a player and as a coach, and the great job that guy has done. The amazing thing about him, I thought Bear Bryant had the only way you could do it. Yeah. Here comes a guy with opposite philosophy, wins just as many games, just as successful. Yeah. You know what? But anyway, when we played, I think we both kind of liked each other.
Yeah.
But the papers naturally made it look like there was a feud going on.
The reunion of the national championship team that's taking you back to Tallahassee. I'm going to do this to you whether you like it or not.
All right.
I come in to do an interview with you about you just lost to Miami. This was '92, the year before the championship. But I said, what happened to you? And you looked at me and you said, Timmy, Charlie, we just need to let him see everything.
Yeah.
Like a point guard sees a basketball court. I think he might win the Heisman.
You know that?
And the following year,
He won. That's exactly right. And I told him the next year, our PR man wanted to start pushing. Don't push him. You'll hurt him. Leave him alone. Don't let he. I said he will win it because he was so spectacular. You know.
Yeah.
So we didn't push him at all. He won the highest votings.
We have a good time, and it's just, we played so much golf over the years. There'll be a shot that'll always remind you of a shot of years past that was equally bad. Y'all pray for me. Pray. Our Father. Our Father. You aren't on the tee.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done. Answered prayer.
When you're here, though, it's not about football. I know it's about
No.
other stuff. It's about, well, you tell me. What's it about? I know you're playing 36 every time you can. All right, but beyond the golf, what's it like with you guys?
All right, it's having supper together every night with everybody coming in. You know what? Each child has a responsibility of supper that night. You got it tonight, you got it the next night, you got it the next night, you got it next night. So we do that at night, and then of course in the daytime, I play golf. You know, I got some of them don't care anything about golf. Okay, then go down on the beach.
Right.
Now I don't. I've had all the beach I want. I'm going. Going. Hey, there's some shade on that golf course. So I go out to there'll be 4 of us. Now there's 6 boys that play golf. What are you going to do? Well, 4 of us will play today. Tomorrow you 2 can't play, and you 2 can play. Now I'm playing every day. I'm paying for this thing.
Yeah. When one of them says, and I know they do, hey, you might play 36, but I'm out at 18. Right? And I know they do.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I can't imagine Terry Bowden every day wanting to go for 36.
No.
I mean, I just can't imagine that. So
Tommy-
how do you handle that?
All right, Tommy's not going to play 36. Terry's not going to play 36. Jeffrey will play 36.
Oh, he will.
Steve will play 36, and I will play 36.
Okay.
So the day it's Tommy's day, Tommy, bring your car. Because you ain't going to stay with us. You got to go back. You bring your car. You right? And Terry, when you play with us, bring your car. Because we're staying.
Don't you dare. Don't you. Jeez.
Did y'all nearly have something there?
Yeah. Y'all nearly.
Did y'all nearly beat us?
All right, say it again. Our Father. I'm praying so hard for you not to do that.
The first year that you got out and you were on the book tour, I'm guessing it opened your eyes to the life after coaching that maybe you didn't even know was going to be available to you.
Yeah.
Take me through that, because there was, and listen, Joe's no longer with us, but I do think there was relevance to the point that he really did feel like the moment he stopped coaching, that might be it. I really always felt that way about Paterno.
Yeah.
And I don't know that you felt that way, but maybe down deep in your heart, maybe you were thinking that. What did you find out when you got out?
Well, I was more aware of it than I worried about it. I never worried about it. You know what? But I knew that Coach Bryant, my idol, got out, died a month later, week, whatever. My dad retired, died within a year later. You know what? And I always thought about that. And so I always said, if I retire, I'm gonna stay active. I ain't gonna do nothing. I'm gonna do something. You know what? And so I think men think of that as they get up to our age.
Yeah.
But the first thing I realized first thing I realized, I had no idea when I was coaching. I coached 57 years. You know, when I quit coaching, first thing I realized is, hey, I don't have to worry about 100 guys. Hey, did they go to class today? I don't know.
Yeah.
Hey, did what's that police call about? I didn't, you know, all those worries were gone.
Yeah.
And I said, gee, there's no pressure.
Yeah.
There's no pressure. And all that time I was coaching, you're burdened with pressure. You know, all coaches are. And until they get out of it, a lot of them don't realize it.
Bobby, the situation for you at the end.
Mm-hmm.
This is the part of the interview that I've been waiting because I didn't know quite how to ask you, but I'm just going to say
ask me any way you
you're
want to.
going to Florida State for the first time now since you left and since you wrote the book. You're going to go back there a couple of times, but one of them, the anniversary team, all that, for the championship. Why now? Why is now the right time for you to go back to Doak Campbell Stadium?
If I call the shots, I plan to stay away 5 years. I mean, I've always said, I followed a very successful coach at West Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
Jim Carlin was an excellent coach. He goes in there before me, and I'm his assistant. And he takes them from 3-8 up to, I think last year might have been 10-1. He leaves, you know, I follow him. He was very successful. Everything I did was compared to him. I got so tired of hearing that. Why don't you do it like Jim did it? Well, you got beat. Why don't you do it like Jim did? I wish we had Jim back. I heard that all. I got so tired of that. Yeah. I always said that when I leave Florida State, I'm leaving. I'm getting out of town. I don't want that coach to have to put up with that stuff. You know what? And so I had planned to get away and stay away maybe 5 years. And so, but Ann and I stayed in town, and then we stayed in Panama City a lot. And then, but the school, the president, and the Seminole boosters, they've tried to get me to come back year after year. And I said, no, not time yet, not time yet. But this time, I'm going to kind of work with them in a raising money for situation. But I definitely want to stay out of the way. I do not want to interfere with what Jim. I don't want him to hear all that stuff I heard.
Yeah. You wrote the book in 2010, and it was as forthright as anything I've ever read. Things that you would have never said to me in an interview, you put in the book.
Yeah.
Was that just cathartic for you? Did it enable you to have some resolution in your own mind?
Here's exactly what happened. When, number one, I would like for FSU to realize, I only wanted one more year. It's not like I want to keep coaching down through the years. But I think a lot of them are afraid that he and Joe Paterno got a race here, and if he has a good year, he's going to stay another year so he can fight Joe. No, I was determined 1 year is all I wanted. Right. So anyway, I didn't get that year. When they told me they were not going to retain me, then I had a choice of resigning, or they're not going to retain me. I retired to keep from embarrassing them. I knew that if I let them fire me, they're gonna tear Florida State up. You know what? And so I felt like I needed to retire just to keep them from getting embarrassing. And so then there was an article in the paper, and I think it was down around Sarasota, where one of our officials had been interviewed, like Bobby resigned joyfully and happily. And when he did that, I said, okay, I'm gonna tell them the real story. So I did that in the book. Not trying to hurt them, but just I don't want people out thinking, oh, he was so happy to get it. No, I wasn't happy. I wanted to coach one more year, but that was all I wanted. I knew he was gonna have a good ball club. Had your quarterback coming back, he went first round. I knew he was gonna have a good ball club. But anyway, that's I'm not bitter about it anymore. At first I was.
When I say that Bobby Bowden is the greatest man that I ever covered that coached college football, that for me is your legacy. I think you're the greatest individual that I've met that ever coached this game.
Well, I appreciate that.
But for you, what would you like for your legacy to be if it matters to you?
I've said this before, and it's spiritual, that I would like for them to say that I carried out God's plan for my life. You know, I'm one of those guys that thinks God has a plan for everybody, and that He has a plan for me. And I'd like to say Bobby Bowden served God's purpose for his life. Now that to me is the greatest win you can get, you know, because, you know, we Christians think we're going to go on. We think there's more out there, you know. And so if that was true, I would love for that to be my legacy.